All right, good morning, everybody. And it really is a good morning because we got some great news to report, very promising news. And it's always good when we have good news to report because that isn't always the case when it comes to the sport of boxing. But let's just get right to it. So, Tyson Fury came out and has said that the bout with Anthony Joshua will 100% happen. So both fighters reportedly has received their deals. They each have received the deal from Eddie Hearn. So all the offers that Eddie Hearn had received from the various countries around the world to host this fight, they were presented to both fighters on Sunday. And now today, Tyson Fury comes out and he feels 100% confident that this fight is going to happen now. So this is great news, guys. This is what we've been waiting for almost 2 months now. So now, if you want to ask me, am I excited? Yes, I'm excited. Now, if you want to ask me, do I feel confident this fight is going to happen? Hell yeah, I feel this fight is going to happen. Hell yeah, I feel confident about this fight happening. For Tyson Fury to come out and say this is phenomenal news. So let's read some of the quotes here from BBC Sport. They're one of the websites that have reported this news. Pretty reputable site. And shout out to Michelle Joy Phelps from Behind the Gloves because these quotes are from her interview, I believe. Yeah, they are from her interview. So shout out to Michelle Joy Phelps. We will give her credit for that. So make sure you go out and check out that interview because again, I always complain when people take stuff from me and they don't quote me. Well, Michelle Joy Phelps, shout out to you. This was a very good interview. You got some good information that the public needed to know. So shout out to her. So Fury went on to say, I've always been quite skeptical on it all. I've been told there are a few major offers on the table from a few major players, so I am very interested and excited to finally hear what they are, to see if they are feasible and that we can make it happen. I think it will 100% happen, a million percent happen, and I think we will know in the next couple days when and where. So this is phenomenal, phenomenal news. So it looks like that we are going to get an announcement by the end of the week. Because Fury is the guy that everyone looked at as the biggest obstacle in this fight not happening. People were saying he was being negative. People were saying that they don't think he's going to accept the fight. It looks as though and seems as though by his actions and by what he has said, not only him but his father, everyone was saying, this fight's not going to happen. Fury doesn't want it. But again, judging by what he has just said, that does not sound like a person who does not want the fight. That's the direct opposite. That's the stark contrast of someone not wanting to fight. So he went on to also say this. He goes, "This isn't like when Lennox Lewis fought Mike Tyson and they were past their best." He said, "We are both in the prime of our lives. Me personally, I think it's a short fight. I'm eager, excited, and like a kid before Christmas. I want this fight to be announced. I am in the physical fighting." He goes, "I am in the physical fighting fitness of my life. Where I am now as a man, you don't get any better. After you get to 34 for a prime athlete, you may go downhill. Now is the time to make this happen." He goes, "We are both physically strong as ever. he goes, we are both as physically strong as we are ever going to be. We are both mature at the height of our success and both have it all to lose. So again, this is extraordinary news. Extraordinary news. This is what we needed to hear. Because as I said before, Fury, in my opinion, was the wild card here. And I thought COVID obviously was the major obstacle. So everyone was sitting there saying, "Beeb, you're being negative." Yeah, I was being negative because I don't think COVID is a positive thing. I don't think you could say anything positive about COVID. I've already explained that on Sunday on our podcast with Eric Lauder and myself. And I already went on to say that, I was not rooting for this fight not to happen. My only concern all along was getting it done with COVID. That I believed was a gigantic, major problem and obstacle. And I also said, Tyson Fury is the wild card because one day he'll say one thing, one day he'll say another. Now, I believe him when he says he wants this fight. I believe him when he says he's excited for this fight because he's been out of the ring for over 14 months. He needs this fight. Okay. There's really nothing else out there for him. There's nothing else that could get him excited or as motivated as this fight. I don't see anything else that he would want to do. I can't find or imagine another direction that this guy would go in instead of fighting Anthony Joshua next, based off of what I just heard from Tyson Fury. So I'm excited. I'm anticipating we'll probably get an announcement maybe Friday or Saturday, hopefully even earlier than that. But again, like I said, I'm not that type of person that needs instant gratification. My only criticism was don't talk about it. Don't bring up deadlines. Don't keep saying something is almost done when it isn't. This is what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear from both fighters after they received the offer. I wanted to know if they were going to accept the offer. Anthony Joshua also seemed very confident on social media, said he's ready to lace up his boots and get this going because he seems to be, and I think he always was, 100% on board with this thing. The only thing we weren't 100% sure of was Tyson Fury's thoughts on the whole thing. So that's that. Omar Rodriguez asks, is it still a 2-fight deal? I don't know, and I don't care. I'm just worried about getting one fight, so I'm not even going to think about getting 2 fights. But from what they said before, it was a 2-fight deal. So I imagine that there's a rematch clause in the contract. I imagine there's a rematch clause in the contract because judging by Eddie Hearn's history, I know that he always puts rematch clauses in the contract for his fighters. So if Joshua were to lose, I believe that there will be a second fight, just as in the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder situation, there was a second Fury fight, and it didn't happen right away because, again, the fight was a draw, so technically no one lost the fight. So implementing a rematch clause in a draw is a bit challenging, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, judging by Eddie Hearn's history, I would strongly suspect that there is a rematch clause in here. And I would also venture to say that there would be a rematch clause in there for Tyson Fury. So I think both fighters, because of the magnitude of this fight and the situation and the money that would be on the table for a second fight, I find it very hard to believe that there wouldn't be a rematch clause and that there wouldn't be a second fight lined up somewhere in the near distant future after the first fight. So now the big thing is, where is this fight going to be? All the indications lead to Saudi, but Eddie Hearn's also mentioned the UK. And I've gone on record saying that, in my opinion, I would love to see the fight go to the UK, even though I am American, because I have said this and I will continue to say this. You UK fans are the best fans in the world. You support your fighters through thick and thin. You buy all of the pay-per-views. Um, you're constantly traveling around the world whenever one of the UK fighters has a fight, regardless of where the fight is. There's always a large contingent of UK fans that travel around the world. So I have to commend you for that, because I don't think the American fans are anywhere close to the UK fans in terms of enthusiasm and dedication towards the sport of boxing. And not only the sport of boxing, but the boxers themselves. Hell, you guys even defend Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn's a promoter. So you guys really, really get behind your countrymen who are involved in the sport of boxing. So we got to give you credit for that. You've showed loyalty, you showed dedication. Many of you have put a good amount of money up to to buy these pay-per-views, to travel around the world and go to these fights. So you guys deserve this fight. And not only that, the two fighters that are involved in this fight are both UK fighters. They're both British fighters. Two fighters that live in Great Britain. So it only makes sense that it would be a natural for the UK. Obviously, I'm not the businessman here. I'm not going to get into the financial details of where it needs to be to make the most money. I'm just saying from a gratitude standpoint. I think that because of what you guys have done, because of your loyalty, because of the enthusiasm, because of all of the undying support that you've given to the sport of boxing and its fighters. Hell, you guys, even when there's American fights on pay-per-view over there, you guys even buy those in large numbers. So you guys are true fans of the sport of boxing, and that's why I believe that you deserve this fight. That's why I believe you deserve this fight. And I will go say once again, I think we really have to acknowledge the effort that Eddie Hearn has put forth in trying so hard to get this fight done. This Eddie Hearn put all of his heart and soul into this fight. And we have to really commend him and acknowledge him for that and give him tons of credit, because he seems and has seemed to be the driving force behind this fight, without question. So we have to give him a ton of credit for what he's done to put this fight together. Now, obviously, the fighters themselves deserve the credit for signing the contract and actually getting in there and fighting and preparing for the fight. But in terms of really hashing out the details and the logistics for this fight, full credit goes to Eddie Hearn. Think about this. What a feather in his cap it would be to put on a blockbuster event like Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders in Texas Stadium in front of 60,000 fans, right? During a pandemic. And then on top of that, be able to put on probably the biggest fight in heavyweight history in terms of this will probably be the highest grossing heavyweight fight in the history of the sport. So to be able to put two mega fights on in the same year like that, without question, this man will be promoter of the year, and it will be hard to not say that this man is the best promoter in the sport of boxing currently, based off of not only what he's done this year, but just trying to really showcase the sport of boxing all around the world by putting, partnering up with the zone and putting on all these cars, not only in America, but all over the world and in all countries. And what he has done for the female boxing, what he has done for female boxing, for the female boxing scene is incredible. Savannah Marshall, Katie Taylor, Shannon Courtney, all these great fighters. Cecilia Brækhus being on the zone as well. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Well, Hearn's trying hard, M Stacks, but you have to read the quotes from Tyson Fury. Unless Tyson Fury is lying, unless you don't believe Tyson Fury, then it looks like this fight's gonna happen. Tyson Fury is saying himself out of his own mouth that he received the offers, and he believes that he's 100% certain the fight's gonna happen. So I don't know. I just don't see why why the fight wouldn't happen if Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua seem to be on board with this. Beeb, what would you have asked Fury that MJ Phelps did in that interview? Well, I didn't hear Michelle Joy Phelps' interview, so I'll have to go back and watch it. So tell me, this is definitely one question I would have asked him. I would have said to him, a lot of people are saying that you're being negative about this fight by saying that, you want Eddie Hearn to, get his act in gear. And you're basically saying that it's put up or shut up time. And a lot of people are taking that as you saying that you don't want the fight. But another way of looking at it is you're just a little bit frustrated that you've been out of the ring for so long. And I can understand that frustration. I can only imagine how great that frustration may have been. What do you have to tell the fans who say you don't want this fight? And that's what I would have asked him that question. Definitely. Definitely would have asked him a question like that. Then I also would have asked him a question of, though this fight will probably be in front of a smaller crowd than it normally would because of COVID. Do you think that puts a damper on the event? And how would that affect you by fighting in front of a smaller crowd than you're normally used to fighting in front of? I'm sure a lot of your fans that normally would be able to watch the fight live wouldn't be able to. What are your thoughts on that? That would be another question I would ask him. So I'm sure if I was in front of him, I'd just be rattling them off. I would just be rattling them off. I would, a lot of them would pop in my head. Another question. You went into the first fight with Wilder and you boxed him. Second fight, you said you were going to knock him out. And you went out there and you did that. You've also said you'd go out there and knock Anthony Joshua out. Are you prepared and are you going to bring that same aggressive style that you brought in the second Wilder fight to this fight? Or are you going to box Joshua? Or may it even be a combination of both styles? You may box him for a bit and then pour it on and just try to take him out of there. Another question I would ask him. So, yeah, I'm giving away all these questions. Someone's going to be listening to this, and they're going to take my question. So whatever the case may be, but I'll, I don't know if hopefully someday I would get the opportunity to interview Tyson Fury. That would be my dream. One of my dreams was already fulfilled when I interviewed my favorite fighter of all time, and that's Sugar Ray Leonard. Tyson Fury is my favorite fighter right now, currently in the sport of boxing. And I'll even go as far as saying Tyson Fury is my favorite heavyweight boxer of all time. So that will be a second dream of mine, being able to interview Tyson Fury. TGB Promotions has been the best in the game recently. I will respectfully disagree with that argument. I think Eddie Hearn has by far been the best promoter in the sport of boxing, in my own humble opinion. I will have to say. Did you stop the in-person interviews after you left TBV? I never really did that many in-person interviews. I did some when I did go to the events. I after I left TBV, I've done a lot of phone interviews. Eric and myself do interviews on the on the podcast, as you must be able to see. So I haven't gone to a lot of events since I've left TBV. I stopped going to events. I've kind of gotten a little lazy, and I actually enjoy watching the fights at home more. But I think if you're gonna do a job in boxing where you're going to be a correspondent full time, then obviously I think it would make sense to go to the fights. But since I do this part time and it's really not a major source of income for me, it's just basically a little bit of residual income, that I don't go to the fights. But I don't even think. Well, obviously they really can't. But I even think TBV started going to less and less events. But I'm sure the pandemic definitely had an effect on why that was the case. But it is what it is. But yeah, I haven't gone to a lot of live events recently, and like I said, I do enjoy watching the fights on television more. The only downside to that is you don't get to watch the whole card like you would if you were there. But a lot of these DAZN events, they show you the actual full card, so that's a good thing. So I don't know who's going to be the referee. There's so much we don't know. No, you don't need me back on TBV. Myself and Eric, I think, do a much better show than them, in my opinion. With all due respect, I just think our shows are better. So, yeah, that'll never happen. On to bigger and better things now. Much more happier over here, doing my own thing with my partner Eric. Much better, much better rapport with Eric than anyone I've ever worked with in the business. So shout out to Eric Lorda. Does a great job on the show with myself. So I appreciate that. But yeah. Fury's training in Vegas. That means Wilder Fury 3 is coming. Wasn't the fight supposed to be? Wilder Fury 3 is not happening next, guys. Stop. I gotta just let go of it. Let go of it. That fight is not happening next. It's not. So you're just gonna have to accept the fact that it's not happening next. Just deal with it. It is what it is. It's not about Wilder anymore. This is about Fury and Joshua, man. This is about Fury and Joshua. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Gonna put a link in the chat, man. If anyone wants to jump on and give their thoughts on the news that we just heard today. This is positive news, man. I'm real excited about it. I'm really excited about it. Who's winning, Parker or Chisora? I'm going to favor Parker. I'm going to favor Parker. I think Parker is the more versatile guy, but I'm not going to say Chisora can't win the fight. I didn't think Dillian White was going to beat Parker, but for whatever reason, I think the headbutt had a big effect on that. Parker almost stopped him at the end, but I just think I think he's quicker on his feet. I think he's really good at creating space. Chisora needs to get close. Parker does a good job at not letting you get close, and Parker is pretty capable on the inside as well too. So we saw him against Joshua hold his own a little bit up close, where Joshua's more of a mid-range guy. I just think Parker is a lot more versatile. I think he's better with his movement. I think he's a little tighter defensively, and I think he's a little sharper with his offense as well. More fluid combination puncher with quicker feet, quicker hands. You can make an argument that maybe Chisora may have a little bit more pop than him, but Parker can pop himself too. So the punching power is comparable. I'm going to go with Parker. I think Parker wins a unanimous decision in the fight. But I was extremely impressed with Chisora's performance against Usyk. I had that a close fight. Had Usyk winning that fight really, really closely. I thought that Chisora really had a good start to that fight, but we got to give credit to Usyk for finishing it strong. So I'm going to go Parker on points against Chisora. It's a good fight. I'm surprised Parker left his trainer though. Really surprised that happened. I was shocked to hear that. Thought they had a good relationship, but it is what it is. Wasn't Fury supposed to fight on December 5th, 2000? I don't know. That was a rumor, but again, you had a situation where he couldn't fight, so I'm not sure. Hergovich versus Hunter is finally a step up for Hergovich. Yeah, that's a good fight too. That's a pick 'em fight. It's a pick 'em fight. I would slightly favor Hergovich, but Hunter can definitely he can definitely box. Can definitely box. He's a crafty guy, slick, crafty guy. So I wouldn't say that's an easy fight for Hergovich. I would not say that's an easy fight for Hergovich. But now I'll put the link in the chat one more time. See if anyone else wants to chime in. But I'm just happy to report some positive news finally, for a change. Who do I got? Andre to Williams. Well, it's crazy. I got Andre, but a lot of people are telling me they think Williams is gonna give Andre all he can handle. I don't see it, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong for the sake of entertainment value. I'd love to see that fight end up being a lot more entertaining than I think it's going to be, because I have a feeling it's going to be one-sided in Andre's favor. But if I'm wrong, I'd love to be wrong on that one. I'd love to be wrong on that one, to be honest. So we'll see what happens. I've had some people message me saying they think Liam Williams has a shot here. Yeah, I'm not going to put them on blast. I don't want to do that, but yeah, Fury. I guess Fury did want to fight in December, but I think once that situation with Wilder went to arbitration, he wasn't able to fight in December. So that's why I don't believe that fight happened in December. So that's where we were at with that one. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like the video. All super chats are appreciated as well. It'd be nice to get a couple super chats. Been putting out a lot of videos lately, so if anyone can just chip in with any super chats, that would be very well appreciated. So thank you so much for joining in. It's great to have some positive news, as I said, and let's just keep our fingers crossed. And I believe that we should get an announcement by the end of the week. I'm looking forward to it. Where this fight ends up, I am not sure. maybe they'll throw us a curveball and they'll put it in the United States. But I think UK deserves it. But I'm not so sure they could put it in a stadium at this point in time, and they could get the live gate that they needed to. I don't think they'd be able to put the 90,000 or the 80,000 or 100,000 people that could potentially be at this fight in the UK under these current circumstances. But again, like I said, I'm looking forward to this fight. I think we got it. Seems like it's going to be a go. Until next time, Beep is out. Talk to y'all soon. Peace out. Have a great day.